Mepham joins me in the studio, and let's just deal with FC Isle of Man first of all. Had the invitation for a rematch. Guernsey in a similar situation to the Isle of Man, and they've got border restrictions, travel restrictions, self-isolation, quarantine, etc. The Isle of Man have been forced, the club, to withdraw from the FA Vars, where I think they were drawn against Liverpool, if memory serves me correctly, so they will get a walkover. And with the way things are, it doesn't look like the borders are going to be opening up anytime soon, especially with the number of cases rising again to a worrying level and a bit of a semi-lockdown again within England. Are they going to get this season underway?
It's hard to say, Tim. Paul Jones and Chris Bassel have a lot more information than I have, but they're looking for like a 3rd of October start, I think it was, and I don't think that's going to happen. There's all sorts of discussions going on, I'm pretty certain, but I feel sorry for them, I genuinely do, because they've put all this hard work in. Guernsey FC came over recently and played down at the Bowl, and it was a fantastic night. The game was good, the whole setup was good, and FC Isle of Man put an awful lot of work in on that one, as explained to one or two. They couldn't do that every game because it cost a fortune, but they got it absolutely spot on, and it was a great event. I enjoyed it.
It was a great event. I was there myself.
Exactly,
really enjoyed it.
I did, Tim, and fair play to them, but they're just getting sort of held back every direction, aren't they? They can't. Yes, they can travel over to this one. Maybe they need to have this game every month because Guernsey must be in the same situation. So while we've got this sort of pocket where the teams can get in and out, the only thing is, and I've just listened to Chris's interview, I think you'll see a different team out tomorrow for Guernsey FC because, there will have been players that couldn't travel because of the time, because when you think of the Isle of Man boys, they left this morning, and I believe they're not back until Monday. That's a long time to take out of someone's life, but it has to be done to play this game of football, and I wish them well. I really do. He's got a good side there. Yes, we're going to have a test tomorrow for some of the teams because they're going to be missing players. But I do really wish them well. But I think tomorrow you'll see a different Guernsey FC team playing against them.
It's wider implications because if you think of other sports, Tom Gandy, for example, playing in Portugal. Portugal's been added again to the list of countries where there's a 2-week quarantine on return to the UK. Manx sport's going to find this difficult, aren't they, to cope with at the moment, along with a whole tranche of other reams of society, not least hospitality. Let's think of them first and foremost. But it does present problems for a sports show dealing with sports stars competing on a wider stage.
Well, exactly, and individually, I feel so sorry for them because, in sport, some sports, Tim, it's a short career, and you don't want to lose like maybe 1 or 2 years. As a chairman of a football club on the Isle of Man, we're looking at possibly not having TT next year if TT doesn't go ahead. Now, we rely heavily on TT to keep things going, pay the bills. There's 13 of the 26 member clubs who do camping now, and that's why the facilities are so good. They're not sitting there on pots of money, Tim. They get the money and then they spend. Luckily, the English FA have given the Isle of Man football clubs nearly $250,000 over the next 5 years to improve their pitches. And we're looking to go into the Step 7. We're working at it again. We've got a year to sort of get it all back on track because of COVID. And there's some clubs out there who've got to do quite a bit of work just to get us over that line, because then that gives the opportunity for the Isle of Man clubs to go into the FA Vars and other competitions, but also tap into a little bit more money for pitch improvements and ground improvements. So we need it, and I feel so sorry for FC Isle of Man and any other sports person who can't compete. I know sort of fair guy, I work with Max Ingham, a British champion last year, and he hasn't ridden a bike, as far as I know, in UK in any competition because he can't get there with the difficulties if he does and then comes back. There's a massive problem, so he's just doing Manx events. No disrespect, he's a British champion, so he needs to be given the opportunity to race against the best in Britain and possibly the best in the world.
It's unlikely at the moment, though, to be any special treatments, it would seem.
Well, there isn't, and I would never. I see some of the posts. I'm not really a Facebook fan, but I see some of the posts, and someone said to me last week, it's about time the government lifted the restrictions so FC Isle of Man could go away and play in the tournament. Surely life is more important than a game of football. So I didn't quite get that one. But hopefully, from what I'm hearing, and it's just rumour, but you know, I speak to Paul quite often, is that if FC Isle of Man have a problem in playing in this league this year, then they will be allowed back in that league next year. That's a fantastic cushion. But they've got sponsors, good sponsors that obviously need to be seen. You know, we're the same at the Isle of Man FA. You know, we've had to hand some sponsorship money back to our sponsors because they only got sort of half a season. So I'm sure hockey, rugby, you know, I wouldn't want to be in rugby shoes at the moment. You know, Dave Christian, who's a massive supporter and fan of it, no fixtures, they've got no RFU backing. It's coming right the way through the line. And the Isle of Man FA, Tim, you know, we're going through, you know, all sorts at the moment because from the 1st of August, the English FA have just stripped us from massive funding. So now we're looking, how are we going to pay the bills? So to be honest with you, all sports are feeling the big pinch. And with what's going on in the world at the moment, it's probably only going to get worse. Let's
deal with some matters on the pitch then. We wish FC Isle of Man well, and
certainly
we're hoping to link up with Chris Bass tomorrow in Saturday Sport Classified on AM 1368 around about 5:30. So that'll be an hour or so away from kick-off. So do tune in tomorrow evening, and hopefully we'll have the starting 11 from Chris, although he's always been very coy at revealing that. But I think he'll be all right on this occasion.
Yeah.
Let's deal with the Canada Live Premier League, and let's just factor in the clubs that have got players away, top players from their clubs away with FC Isle of Man, and will it have an impact on fixtures? There may well be tomorrow afternoon the odd surprise result in the Canada Live Premier League. We'll wait and see. Russian play St Mary's. Russian, of course, top of the table, played 5, won 5. St Mary's are already 5 points behind Russian, the reigning champions, let's not forget, with last season being null and void. Both teams have lost players in this one.
They have. Let's have a look at Russian first. They've got injuries to bring into it as well, but they've lost 4. You know, it's a shame. Adam Kuhl deserves it. Unbelievable. 17 years of age to be playing with that sort of ability. And then when you look at other people in there, Dean Kearns will be missing. Alex Maitland will be missing out of the Russian team, which is a shame. And then you've got Jack Kamada, who's just transferred to Russian. So they're missing out 4. St Mary's are missing 2 players, but they're as good as 4. And that's Jack McVeigh and Frank Jones. So yeah, I still think Russian will have enough. They've got a strong combination. St Mary's haven't got any combination players, so I think it's going to be a tough afternoon for them. And I know Liam Cowan's our guest tonight in Football Focus, but I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be fine. The important thing is to get the win and keep the pressure on at the top of the table.
Yeah, Liam Cowan, Russian manager, is the guest on Football Focus with Tony and Chris Kinley following this programme. Let's deal with the team in second. That is Corinthians. They, like Russian, have a 100% record and have been in really good form, although wobbled a bit last week at times. They've probably been affected the most, haven't they, by FC Isle of Man? They're away at Moran.
Yeah, they have, and they've lost 6 players. And when you lose basically your whole forward line in Steve Whitley, Sean Doyle, you've got Luke Murray and Dan Simpson. It's a big gap to fill. And then when you look at the back, you've lost your main centre-back in Ryan Burns and your left-back, Chris Cannell. So it's a massive problem. At least they've got the goalkeeper who had a little bit of an injury last week. So I think he's playing tomorrow afternoon for Corinthians. But no, Moran will fancy their chances. I wouldn't blame them. It's at their pitch. And, you know, Blaine Slattery's got to be looking around and see what sort of players he can bring in. But I know people like Phil Kelly, Josh Riding, Kane Riding, Callum Campbell, they've got vast first-team experience, so they'll come straight in, I would think, no problem. And Adam McCulloch, he's been banging goals in for the Combi, so I think he's worth a chance, and I think he will get a chance tomorrow. But yeah, with losing those 6 players, it does bring them down a peg, and I'm pretty certain Moran will go into this game knowing that they can win some points.
Other games that we can tell you are on. Ramsey played Douglas Athletics, St George's against Douglas Royal, and St John's against Ayr. Blackberry Lane, 2 sides not used to being in 11th and 12th position in the table. Old Boys play Peel. Both are struggling somewhat.
They are, and let's just touch on old boys at the moment. Jack Townsend, I don't know if you picked up on the story last week.
Yeah.
I'm glad to say that Jack's on the mend.
Good.
As he's been through all sorts, but now he's starting to come around, which is really good. And hopefully we'll see Jack playing football soon. I'm looking forward to working with him because he's one funny boy. And 18 years of age, we want him to be back in playing local football. But when you look at old boys, they won their first game against St John's and then have lost 4 in a row. They've got good players there, good goal scorers. Owen Canepa, Mike Booth are in there. Young Johnny Gartland, that's Johnny Gartland Jr., because his dad was one heck of a player, so I'm pretty certain his son is going to follow in the footsteps. But it's conceding goals is a big problem for them. And Robbie Ward, I think, is missing again through injury. But Peel, the injury list is colossal, Tim. There's basically a first team sitting on the bench, and I don't know how Steve Faulkner's holding it together. He's lost a little bit of hair, but I'm sure he's missing a bit more from what he's going through at the moment. And I just feel that certainly at the moment, without Rhys Oates, I don't know where they are with Lee Gale. We'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But once they've got the team back, they'll be strong.
And the fixtures in JCK Limited Division 2, Castletown play Michael, Colby play Foxdale, Jims against Braddon, Maloo against Governors Athletic, Onken are up against Douglas and District, who are third in the table, and Ramsey Youth Centre play Union Mills. Now, Ramsey Youth Centre played 1 game less than Union Mills. They are 8 points behind them. If Union Mills win at Ramsey Youth Centre, people are going to be saying, can anyone really stop them already? I know it's early in the season, but they look strong.
I think you've taken the words out of my mouth, Tim, because my view is it's a game Ramsey Youth Centre have to win.
To win already, and it's so early in the season.
Yeah, and I'm going to watch this one tomorrow, so I'll be probably setting off about 11 o'clock tonight, get myself down there for 1 o'clock and watch the game. I'll have to shoot off early, unfortunately, to be back for the results show, but no, looking forward to that game because Youthy have got some really good players, but Union Mills are on fire.